So here we go. Clip number 2. We're gonna look what Amir Tsarfati says about Isaiah 40, who he's talking to, the time period he's referring to, and we'll sort of analyze this quick clip. That's not going to be too long, and you will hear sort of throughout this passage, and I guess towards the end a little bit, Amir kind of gives away his game, I would say. So let's have a look.
The word comfort is used 13 times in chapters 40 to 66, the chapters of the grace in the book of Isaiah. It's because the prophet Isaiah is now shifting his focus to the coming end of Israel's captivity in Babylon, while the exile is still yet future at the time of this writing. That's why he's a prophet. He could see not just the coming exile, but the coming end of the exile.
Hello. Just as I recorded the previous bit, I sort of thought, well, I actually missed one little aspect of it. Just let's go back to the passage and understand. Even if we agree with Amir 100%, let's say we agree with him about his placing of it in today's context, it still fails to make sense. And the reason being because Isaiah is talking about the sons of Israel or Israel in exile, people to be comforted in exile. If Amir wants to connect the people suffering in exile and people who need encouragement to look forward to their coming back to their land, Amir needs to concede that in this particular case, the state of Israel, as we're speaking of today, is no way in shape or form is in exile. It's already state that's been realized. So again, this passage, this is just another aspect where Amir and his parallels fail to complete. Anyway, just wanted to add that to the video. Thank you. All right, so having looked at over what Amir had to say about this passage, let's affirm the fact that Isaiah is talking about comfort in Israel, so there's no doubt about that. The fact whether the word is used 13 times or 20 times, I don't think it really matters in a way, but certainly this passage is unequivocal in this sense. So Isaiah is giving comfort and is giving comfort to the people exiled in Babylon. And he's telling them what is this passage is about? Is about ending the exile, right? So Isaiah is talking about immediate ending of the Babylonian exile, which happened through the Persian conquest of Babylon, as we know from a biblical account in any way. And we know that that's what Isaiah is talking about, right? So Isaiah is writing sometime at the end of, allegedly, at the end of 8th century BC, early 7th century BC, even before the Babylonian exile took place. And he's talking about the end of the exile. So Amir is taking this passage and saying that Isaiah is talking to us today about the state of Israel today, about the formation of the state of Israel in 1948, basically within a couple of generations before us. But that's not really the story. He gives away the story himself. He says Isaiah is talking about the ending of the Babylonian exile. So Amir here contradicts his own storytelling, because he's presented to people this passage as if it is directed at people today, talking about the state of Israel today, as opposed to actually talking about the ending of Babylonian exile, which took place, that exile, again, according to the biblical account, ended sometime 2,500 years ago. Okay, so here's a typical sort of this ahistorical snatching of verses from the holy books and presenting them as if they're exactly and directly applying to the same people with the same name. Of course, here I have to tell everyone that the name Israel for the modern state of Israel is, if anything, is a great marketing job and not exactly annotation that Isaiah was referring to when he was speaking of Israel. Now, there's another bit of a jam in this passage that one could sort of stray away a little bit further from the sort of accepted narrative as presented by Amir. Think about it. Isaiah was writing at the end of the 8th century and the early 7th century. What had happened before that? Well, in the year 722 BC, the northern kingdom of Israel was conquered by the Assyrians. And of course, some of the conquered people, some of them were exiled into the Assyria, and a lot of them came to Jerusalem, to the kingdom of Judah, to seek in exile to seek refuge. And one could say, if you remember, when I was talking about in the clip number 1 analysis, when we're talking about Jeremiah 3, when Jeremiah 3 specifically differentiates between Israel and Judah. So this passage in part could also be talking about people of Israel exiled in Judah after the Assyrian conquest and not perhaps been treated very well. So perhaps the prophet is also saying to the people of Judah, not to somebody today or somebody even then, but specifically to the people of Judah, kind of reminding them that maybe you should be treating people of Israel as they're in exile, give them comfort in your kingdom as they have escaped persecution of the Assyrians. So this is just another sort of addition to what I had said previously. Just think about it. It could be the case as well. But to conclude, to jump from this passage where Isaiah could be talking about the exiled people of Israel as they're residing in Judah after they've sought refuge there, or Israel is talking about all 12 tribes coming back after the Babylonian exile. In both cases, this passage clearly cannot be interpreted as speaking to the modern state of Israel directly. This is a huge stretch, but Amir does it time and again. So be careful every time. It'll probably be a lot of references I will be making to Amir, making this assertion, constantly equating the modern state of Israel with the 12 tribes that were direct descendants, physical descendants, according to Amir himself, of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Anyway, thank you for watching. We'll look forward to the next clip. Thank Hello. Just as I recorded the previous bit, I sort of thought, well, I actually missed one little aspect of it. Just let's go back to the passage and understand. Even if we agree with Amir 100%, let's say we agree with him about his placing of it in today's context, it still fails to make sense. And the reason being because Isaiah is talking about the sons of Israel or Israel in exile, people to be comforted in exile. If Amir wants to connect the people suffering in exile and people who need encouragement to look forward to their coming back to their land, Amir needs to concede that in this particular case, the state of Israel, as we're speaking of today, is no way in shape or form is in exile. It's already state that's been realized. So again, this passage, this is just another aspect where Amir and his parallels fail to complete. Anyway, just wanted to add that to the video. Thank you.